Good morning and welcome to Missoula Real Estate Today. This is Denny Bedard. Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Diane provides complete service for your real estate transaction and brings us guests who provide useful information on industry-related topics and trends. And now, Missoula Real Estate Today on News Talk, KGVO. As always, we appreciate you being with us on Missoula Real Estate Today. Hope you are healthy. We, of course, are practicing social distancing measures instead of the opportunity to have a guest come in the studio. We're going to do it by a phone again this week, but that's okay. I think we'll get through it just fine. And an important guest this week, too, Matt Cavanaugh with Five Valleys Restoration. Matt, how are you?
I'm good.
You are practicing social distancing measures and a little bit beyond right now, right? What's going on?
That's correct. My family and I were on spring break when all this started to come down, and we were in Hawaii. So we are under a 14-day stay-at-home quarantine, and we're doing our best, staying at home, staying out of the way.
And I wondered if some of your close friends, they feel bad for you at the same time. Hey, you got to go to Hawaii, so we don't feel bad for you, you know?
Yeah. I've been catching some flack from that, but it was definitely a different time in Hawaii with everything going on. The Hawaiian people were doing their best too, so we have to. Everything, the beaches and whatnot were shut down, so it was definitely a different experience in Hawaii from the other times I've been there.
Well, sure. I always like to start the show with a little bit of a get acquainted visit, some information on the business and how you came to pursue the profession, how you got involved with Five Valleys Restoration.
So when I was a young man, my dad gave me a couple of options for a job when I was 16 years old. So 1996. I was just a high school kid, and they told me to go get a job. I'd had, like anyone else, any other job in the world, and I went to work for a company called Restorex of Montana, which is a disaster restoration company in Sidney, Montana. And I worked there after that, I worked there through all my high school years and then any breaks I had in college. And so I just kept in the industry. Yeah. Worked for a couple different restoration companies throughout North Dakota when I went to school. I went to school at the University of Montana and the University of North Dakota and worked for them both there. And then when I was done with school, I came back here, went to work for a company, and then in 2008, I started Five Valleys Restoration and Cleaning, so 12 years ago.
What was the appeal? What attracted you to pursuing that as a career?
It's an ever-changing industry. Just like any other people we all have our likes and our dislikes, and I'm definitely not a desk person. I don't like sitting behind a desk. I'm definitely more of a hands-on, out in the field type, which as the business has evolved over the last 12 years tends to be where I am more now, is at a desk and sales position. But I've always enjoyed it, the advancements in technology, the science of it, water, fire, mold, even all the way down to the basic chemistry of carpet cleaning that is one of our services. So it's ever-changing. Each day seems to be different. No home's built the same way, so when we're in doing our projects, they're always a little different, which keeps us on our toes, and it's a very exciting industry, and I enjoy it.
And since it is Diane Beck from Windermere Real Estate Show, I always like to ask the relationship between you and Windermere, how you folks got to know each other.
We do a lot of real estate work with, as busy as the real estate markets have been in the Missoula area, people looking to buy a home, sell a home, and then the realtors themselves having relationships with us because as a lot of home inspection reports tend to find, you'll find some microbial growth, as we like to say. We try to stay away from the mold word, but microbial growth in attics, crawl spaces, homes not vented properly. We do a lot of crawl space encapsulation and waterproofing, and Windermere's being one of our good real estate companies that we have a lot of great contacts, and Diane being one of those. So we tend to work hand in hand with them as one of their vendors when these types of situations come up.
Have you been able to grow the list of services that you offer since the time that you got started with Five Valleys Restoration?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we started pretty simple. And just, in the last couple of years with meth contamination, our guys have definitely dug into that a lot, and we've gotten some guys certified and getting the proper education for those types of things. Our guys do a lot of construction on our own projects. We are definitely not a new build company by any means. We leave that to the big boys.
Yeah.
We put together our own projects. So if we take a home apart and mitigate it, we'll go and do the home restoration and put it back together as well. So we do the construction aspect with those, which when we first started in business, we weren't doing a lot of those just as a smaller company. But now we do a lot more of that. We do a lot of consulting, which 12 years ago we didn't really do a lot of consulting, whether it be for an insurance carrier who wants a bill revisited or just, from legal aspects, things like that, doing different consulting. And that's myself and a couple other guys that have a lot of education and training through our office.
Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate, and our guest, Matt Cavanaugh, president of Five Valleys Restoration. I won't get too far off track here, Matt, but I would like to ask you about that, the meth remediation process. I know that's not an everyday occurrence, but when it does happen, that's not something you can take lightly, and it's not something that just any remediation company can do. What is that like?
Well, it's a changing industry as well. The law was put into place in 2005 that set some limits off of it, and it's ever changing. From the way that the drug itself changes, we don't see nearly as many labs as we used to. That was what a lot of people used to discuss, was labs. Now it's a lot more of usage, actual smoking and usage that are contaminating the homes. The products that are being used are pretty pure, but it's very scary, and it's very scary of what's going on because you can't see it,
right.
So you don't really know. You have to ask a lot of questions, and sampling and awareness are your best tools for identifying that type of stuff. And it like so many things is evolving every day. The cleanup processes, the different products to use, safety measures. It seems like it's an ever evolving process from where it was 3 to 4 years ago, even to today.
Yeah, gosh, sad but a necessity, no doubt. Well, more regular calls. What are customers' inquiries like right now, and what ways, if any, has the coronavirus affected your business and or the way you are doing business?
Definitely, it's definitely affected the way we're doing business. Our teams we take a lot of precautions on a regular day about protecting clients' homes and well-being. On a regular day before this all happened, our guys do a lot to protect belongings, plasticking, doing things of the such. We protect all the flooring and doing whatnot. Now we're protecting ourselves, protecting homeowners from, the basics of keeping a lot of hand sanitizer accessible to the homeowners and the team themselves, wearing respirators when needed and as often as possible, trying to identify the demographic you're working with, maybe potential health measures before you even get on site. With us, water, fire, and mold, the virus doesn't stop them.
Sure.
If a pipe breaks in your home and floods your basement, they don't care if the coronavirus is going on or not. And as a homeowner, you, especially now more than ever, you want a safe haven. You want a safe place because you're stuck there. And so that's our job, is to try and provide the safest environments we can and get these places dry and put back together as quickly as we can so people can get back to normal. We're getting inquiries about cleanup and disinfecting and whatnot, and that's the hard thing about it is, saying cleaning and disinfecting, because that's the process you need to take, following the CDC guidelines of making sure that you create a clean environment before you disinfect it, understanding what you're using to disinfect. You see people are definitely taking advantage of this to say that they have the ability to do this and that and whatnot, not just, here, but all the way across the country, following some different industries. And you just want to make sure as a consumer that they really do know what they're going on and that what they're coming in to do. Our job is to come in, give you a cleaner environment, and then disinfect what's there. Now, what you're disinfecting and for, that's your own choices of the products you're using and what they're trying to do. But understanding that the goal is to leave a cleaner environment for those individuals. So when you go in, whether it be wipe down surface, heavily touched surfaces, there's a lot of people throwing fogging and things out there, and that can be effective if it's used in the correct manner with the correct products. So we're getting inquiries every day, it seems like, from a lot of different angles, whether it be mechanical things of controlling airflow versus cleanups. Our guys are taking all the extra steps for we always disinfect our equipment, but now we're doing it before and after. So before we're going into someone's home and when we come out, just to take all those extra steps to not only protect the client and to protect our team, because they are, at this point, they're healthy and they're working really hard and taking all those safety measures.
Well, and I'm glad you brought up disasters in there, because it does lead to my next question. Disasters are disasters. Let's face it. Any emergency you take on can happen anywhere and anytime. Is Western Montana unique in any way in terms of a specific type of emergency occurring maybe a little more than average?
Yeah, we've, our winters here, I was born and raised in eastern Montana, so obviously that's got a different appeal to it with the blowing wind and the 30 and 40 below, and that presents its own problem. But we, of course, get that colder weather here, too. I would say for us it's more of a snow issue, and we had one of these issues last year. Our guys responded to a large water loss up past Clearwater Junction, and there's a lot of snow, and our big cab over truck that has all of our drying equipment slid off the road.
Oh, gosh.
You can't. We got to keep all that equipment warm. We got to keep the guys safe, and that truck's big enough where you just can't pull it out with a regular tow truck. So we had to send a big wrecker up there, get them out. That's where we see, I think, one of our more common things is in the wintertime in Montana with snow. We have built we have emergency response vehicles to respond to water losses, but we then carry specialty four-wheel drive vehicles to hook up to a trailer, pack all the same equipment into it, and we can climb up the mountain if we need to respond to that flood.
Missoula Real Estate Today is presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest, Matt Cavanaugh with Five Valleys Restoration. Matt, if it's not readily apparent damage, let's say a customer notices, a disturbing odor in their home, what's the process? They contact you, and then what is the next step?
Well, they contact us. We have a couple individuals on our staff that do estimating and identification. Big things with odor and mold are source, finding the source, what caused it, and eliminating that, of course. So if you've got a leaking pipe and you fix the mold, but you don't fix the leaking pipe, obviously it seems like it's a waste of time. It's the same with odor. If you've got carpet that Fido has been doing his business on, and you just clean a little bit of it up, but you don't actually fix the problem that could be underneath of it and remove the source. A lot of our industry is identification, doing proper inspections, identifying the problems, but finding solutions to make sure they don't come back. Once that process gets to that, we'll put together an estimate. Our guys also have the ability to identify the severity of it. If we go into someone's home and we feel like their health and well-being might be in danger, we always take that advantage to let them know that. And there's measures we'll take, whether we're going to get paid on the project or not, to help identify with them and protect them in the best way we can. Our job is we're an environmental and health and safety company, and as well as a restoration company. So we want to make sure that the occupants of these properties are safe. And so whatever measures it takes, but we can identify the severity. Obviously, if you've got some mold growth in an attic, that's probably not as severe as if you've got a bunch of mold growth around the bathroom or a basement where you've got people in those spaces living.
I'm not suggesting you have to be, Dr. Matt Cavanaugh, but you do have to offer comfort and reassurance frequently to victims of major damage. I would imagine that empathy and sympathy have to be strong suits in your profession.
Empathy is a word we use a lot around our office. It's a very commonly used term. Our guys, from the day they start, we don't throw them into the wolves when we hire an individual to come to work for us. Something with our technicians, our supervisors, our office staff we talk about is first and foremost customer service, understanding that on a water or a fire loss, these people didn't want us to come into their home. This was not expected. And so we have to understand that they're not mad at us. They're mad at the situation. So our guys have to take all these steps to do exactly that, to calm the client, and always try to remember that get them to understand we can fix it. It may be a process, it may be timely, but we can fix it, and that's what we do every day. And, yeah, sometimes it's harder than others because it is. For a lot of people, their home or business, buildings, whatever it may be their largest asset, and that's in danger at that point. So our guys, for the very first few days, in fact, we do a lot of training throughout the office. We have some online stuff that we've built within our office, as well as in-person type things that talks about how to just treat the client, not so much the situation, the water and fire, whatever it may be, but the client in that situation and how they're acting and making sure that they're okay. follow-up phone calls, communication, just keeping them, because that's important to us, is that they understand the process and that they're comfortable with the way it's going to go.
Excellent. That is a great answer. Are there any common errors, Matt, home or business owners make that, I don't know, might prevent some disasters from happening?
There's the usual ones we see of people leaving like their hoses connected. That's kind of a common one. Some of the other things that just, it's hoses connected, when it's cold outside,
Right.
Everything freezes, a hose bib may break. Not keeping, if you leave town and you shut your heat off or you don't keep it at a proper temperature, a good temperature to consider is 55 degrees or higher. If you leave town and leave the furnace on. Some of the things that we see and hear a lot of are just negligence, and it's hard sometimes for people to do certain things, but just inspecting your home, keeping an eye on your plumbing, looking underneath, inspecting around toilets and sinks. Those are some of the things that I would say, understanding that like an appliance, whether it be a washing machine hose or a line on the back of your fridge, those things are not designed to last forever. They eventually, like so many things, have to wear out. And we as consumers need to understand that and have that as something to check on and have on our checklist. Does it have to be done every day? No. Does it have to be done every year? Maybe. It's just that kind of stuff to put on your checklist to make sure things aren't wearing out. Braided lines for sinks and toilets and things of the such. That stuff eventually over time will wear out. And so we have to be aware of those types of things.
Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Our guest, Matt Cavanaugh, president of Five Valleys Restoration, via phone as we observe social distancing here. Matt, how about your equipment? Are there any advancements in technology that have made you even more efficient? And if you could detail what some of those might be. I'm sure that what that amounts to is a big investment for you, but an important one.
Yeah, the last 4 or 5 years we understand the importance of technology in our industry, and it changes. It's ever changing from one day to the next. We've taken a lot of steps to improve, to make sure we keep up with it. Some of the new things, and the realtors use them a lot too, though, are 360 and 3D imagery. Matterport is a company that does that. The virtual tours, we now use those as well.
Oh.
And at times like this, when maybe we're trying to limit the volume of people going in and out of someone's home, if we can keep maybe an insurance adjuster from having to expose himself to those situations, and we can give him a 360 tour of this home and the damage without him stepping in, we have the capabilities to do that. We use drone technology for aerial shots on, in our industry, it's more of making sure venting is proper on an attic. But if we have a large house fire and the roof line and whatnot is affected, it's nice to be able to send a drone up and get different camera angles and shots of the property. Thermal imaging in our industry is huge. It's something that's ever changing. We see it, fancy cameras that used to be, $10,000, $15,000 are $1,000, $1,100 now. So it's a good thing. They're accessible to people in the industry. Testing, there's a lot of testing done by third parties. We do some basic sample testing for cleanliness. It's called ATP. We can do those on site. We can have immediate results. One of the ones we like to do with ATP is testing the cleanliness of people's cell phones because they're always so dirty. Bluetooth technology is really big for our industry. Our drying equipment, they're now producing a lot of it that it's Bluetooth based. So we can walk in and get a report just kicked out to our phones, a drying report of what's been going on in the 24 hours since we've been there. There is some stuff that we can put into the walls and then hook into a Wi-Fi or a Bluetooth that gives us results from those walls, from the framing, so that we can actually get real-time drying that's actually going on. Because we spend a lot of time doing inspections, and anything, like any industry, we're trying to limit the amount of labor because the insurance companies are always looking to do that. So this creates a way to do that.
What was the learning curve like? I realized that this was kind of developed and learned over a span of time, but is the whole learning process and training and getting everybody on your team on board, was that quite a task?
It still is. It's ever changing. We have, instead of trying to train everyone for everything, we've really focused on getting certain individuals trained really well and having them do some teaching and some educating of certain things. Getting our guys out to as many classes as we can. There's a lot of online-based, especially now we're getting notice services. There's a lot of online-based training stuff that can be done right in front of you, even down to the basics of customer service, to getting our guys to educate themselves. But the learning curve is always, it's the individual. I mean, some individuals, you put a drill in their hand or a saw in their hand, and they may catch on a little quicker versus others who aren't familiar with it. So those curves with being a hands-on type person tends to be different for certain people. But our goal is to give them as much information that they can handle as they can, and keep it there so they can just keep educating themselves and trying to not stop. Keep that education base going on a daily basis.
Hopefully, this is fairly apparent based on everything we've been talking about so far, but just for the benefit of everyone, or maybe someone who joined us a little late, maybe list everything under the umbrella, all the services that Five Valleys Restoration does offer.
First and foremost, we're a water and fire damage company, so pipes break in your house, water damages, of course, sewer backups. You have a sewer backup, some issues with your septic system, things of the such, that tends to make quite a mess, and that is very biohazard based. I mean, those things that can be in our fecal matter are very bad for us, so we want to get those cleaned up. Mold remediation and removal. We do some hazmat work, trauma suicide cleanups. We have a construction and repair division, so we put all of our own projects back together. We do some basic things, whether it be venting things outside of just putting our projects back together. Meth contamination, meth pretesting, contamination cleanup. The meth contamination world is still, a lot of the work is tested within, so we try to do the pre-testing and the cleanup. We make sure we bring in a third party for the post-testing. Odor removal, carpet cleaning, upholstery cleaning, tile cleaning. That basically encompasses a large amount of what we do. We offer consulting services, whether it be for reviewing a claim, legal aspects for attorneys in town of projects that have been done or not done. So we have a pretty wide range of things that we do.
Yeah, that's excellent. The very versatile Five Valleys Restoration, and our guest Matt Cavanaugh, president of Five Valleys Restoration, on Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. I also want to thank some of Diane's marketing partners that help bring you the show: Rob Fleming with Man Mortgage, Miles Link of Opportunity Bank of Montana, and Carol Blodgett from MakeItMissoula.com. Matt, I always like to ask about success stories. Any examples of jobs you've done recently that really gave you a lot of extra satisfaction?
As I progress with the business, I don't have as much in the field as I used to. My guys do a fantastic job of hands-on. We like any company out there with social media today, our job is to provide the best service we can and hope our clients enjoy that and leave us a nice review. That's the most satisfying thing from a business owner's perspective. And for me, I think as I've grown, the more these reviews don't have my name on them, it's more satisfying to me. I love nothing more than when our guys are identified by a client by their name, because they are the ones that are providing that service. And I think that, for me, is the most satisfying thing in the last couple of years, is to see the evolution of our company to where it's not about me anymore. And I love that more than anything, because our success stories are not Matt Cavanaugh anymore. Yeah, yes, I may have started the business 12 years ago, but now it's about the individuals who work their butts off every day for us to go out there, and they're the ones who are getting that. And that provides a ton of satisfaction for me when I see, whether it be Yelp, Facebook, Google reviews, letters that come back, emails that come back from clients, and when they identify the staff and the individuals, the team members that we put together that do a good job, that's the most satisfying thing to me versus hearing my own name. I don't need to hear that anymore.
Well, that is an outstanding testament to your team. Why is Five Valleys Restoration and Cleaning the one to call? And I guess part of that answer is your people, right?
Yeah, we love living here. My wife and I, 2 children, one on the way. We love living here, and I want to raise my children here. And I love being able to walk into the grocery store and not have to. That's always my running joke, and not have to turn down another aisle when you see someone that you haven't done a good job for. And like anyone, they're out there. We know that, and over 12 years we've working very hard to make sure that we don't have those anymore. And I'd say for people to call us is that we're local. We want to work with people. We love living in this community. We donate a lot of time and money back to the community because we love it. And we're on call for Western Montana, Missoula, the Five Valleys region, and Western Montana. And our guys work really hard at not only providing great customer service, but doing our best to minimize cost and get projects done in a timely manner.
About what is the size of your team at Five Valleys Restoration, Matt?
Well, with me being under quarantine, I haven't seen a lot of faces lately.
Yeah.
I think right now we have 18, and I think our staff is 18.
Wow.
With administrative staff and field technicians. We have individuals that just clean carpet all day, do a fantastic job. We have guys that are just working on water, fire, mold. We have a couple of fantastic young ladies who clean contents for us all day. All they do is inventory, clean contents, do pack outs for clients, identify damage. If they have fire or water in their home and those individual contents are in the process, in the area where we need to work, they come in, they pack them out, they itemize them, get them out of the way. If they need to be cleaned, we clean them. And then we have individuals who work on the repair side every day too. So we have divisions of the business where they are busy every day and they're doing their best to improve, and same thing, just educating them. And yes, I think 18 is the current number.
Excellent. I do not mean to suggest silly calls. I'm not trying to go there at all. But let's face it, there's a lot of concern, a lot of panic right now. Are you getting any, unusual calls about, hey, I think I got coronavirus in my house. What can you guys do about it? Or just any unique and unusual calls under the circumstances right now?
No, we've gotten a couple of question-based things. People asking about the process. They seem to be pretty, their questions make sense to us.
Sure.
And I always tell people that, it's that old. There's no such thing as a stupid question.
Right.
And in this situation, people are very scared, and it's a time like none of us have ever seen before. And my hopes are never see again. But we haven't faced that yet. We've had people definitely calling from residential and commercial situations, asking about the process, asking about what products and situations we're in and how we can help them. I don't feel like there's really been any silly ones to date. I try to keep in touch with our office and with our front desk, who does a fantastic job with customer relations, and she hasn't relayed any to me that are just something above and beyond or crazy yet.
Yeah. Are you concerned? I think that says, hey, we don't really need that Cavanaugh guy around here at all, do we?
They tell me that a lot. I kind of get a comment, not only from them, from my wife, says about that for them too, that I tend to micromanage and stick my nose where I don't belong on jobs, and I walk away. So they all make that running joke that things tend to run more smooth when I'm not around. So this has probably been the best vacation they've all had, is not having me there.
Matt Cavanaugh, president of Five Valleys Restoration here on Missoula Real Estate Today, presented by Diane Beck of Windermere Real Estate. Well, Matt, before we go, how about contact information, how we find you, how we get a hold of you, what's the best avenue for all of that?
Yeah, we have a website, www.fivevalleyrestoration.com. Our office phone, which is also our emergency services line if you have something after hours, is 406-542-2113. My email is Matt, M-A-T-T, at fivevalleyrestoration.com, all spelled out. We have an info, the same like most people, is info at fivevalleyrestoration.com as well. We have a location here in town at 910 North Dickens. We do have two offices. One of them does not. We just work out of it. We don't have any foot traffic. Now we have no foot traffic at any of them, but
right.
So we have multiple locations. We're hoping to condense that down, get ourselves into a new building here soon, and have everything available for us. So that's the best way to get a hold of us. 24 hours a day, we're on call. We have a rotation for on-call schedule. So at any point in any day, we have guys on call to answer and respond.
Matt Cavanaugh with Five Valleys Restoration on Missoula Real Estate Today. Matt, you have been a terrific guest. I appreciate you coming on.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Missoula Real Estate Today. Contact Diane Beck with Windermere Real Estate. Email dianebeck@realtor.com or visit her website, homesinmissoula.com. We'll see you next time on Missoula Real Estate Today.